More Jayne Carroll now on AM 1360 KUIK, Westside Talk Radio.
And welcome back to the Jayne Carroll Show. She's on vacation. She just joined the show for her picks, though. We had a lot of fun with that. This is Aaron Stevens, and I'm in hosting for her on the Halloween edition. And we have a special guest joining us today, and I'm very excited. It's the first time I get an opportunity to interview him. I heard some good things, and I'm so glad that I think we've got a really, really good candidate. We have joining us today Ben Pollack, who's announced he's seeking the Republican nomination held by Representative Kurt Schrader in the 5th Congressional District. Are you on the line there, Ben? Can you hear me?
Yeah, Aaron, thanks for the great introduction there.
Well, you've got a lot of experience and you've got some great ideas, and we need some help in Congress. We need help in Oregon. I spent a lot of time in your district. There's over 700,000 people out there in the 5th Congressional District that I don't think are getting good representation, and we need somebody like you. Tell us what we can do and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Man, I sure agree with you there. We definitely need some new representation out here. Yeah, let me just give you a little bit of background about myself for the listeners out there. I'm a fourth-generation Oregonian, born and raised here. I'm currently helping run my family's small business out in Canby. We've been in the area for over 10 years. We've been in business for 37 years. And, running a small business really is eye-opening in terms of what the government does to restrict free enterprise and prevent job growth and prevent wealth creation, not only for the owners but for the employees and the members of the community. And I think people are tired, really, of the same politicians, the same people running for office over and over. They just move from one office to the next, and nothing ever changes. So I think we need some fresh blood in Congress, and that's one of the main reasons I'm running.
Well, Kurt Schrader, he didn't seem to be much different than Darlene Hooley, just another rubber stamped, another vote for Nancy Pelosi and the like. And we're frustrated as we keep this same path. I'm a small business owner as well, and this is why I started to get involved in politics, and I've had the opportunity to get into radio, because we're fed up and we're frustrated. We'd rather just run our businesses and be with our families, but I'm thankful for men like yourself stepping up, and because it's they're going to throw some barbs at you, and that's what's really tough, but it seems like you're willing to take them, and we do appreciate it, because we need good candidates, because we got to take the House back, and we need some leadership in Oregon as well.
Yeah, and you mentioned the attacks, and they get quite personal. I've already seen some of those. I've been running for 36 hours or something, and I've seen some pretty mean attacks already.
That's all it takes. Anybody in the bushes yet? Anybody following you around with cameras?
No, not yet. But
Okay.
that indicates to me that I'm doing something right.
Well, what do they say? You get the flack when you're over the target,
Yeah, and I have a background also in political work and in campaign work, and I've seen this day in and day out for several years, and it doesn't faze me one bit. I have no problem taking all the heat and having people follow me with cameras and saying some pretty nasty stuff. So I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about getting out every single day and meeting the people of the 5th District and talking to them about the issues, having a real adult conversation for a change, and not just, these stupid talking points and political nonsense. My focus is really going to be about having conversations with people and trying to get some stuff done.
I spent some time out in your district with John Kuzminich and some members of the Oregon Tea Party, and I've gone all over the place. And there's a lot of farmers out there, and there's dairy farms and many other people, and I've met them, and boy, are they frustrated, and they see somebody come in with a suit and a tie, and they say, well, we've seen you seem more grassroots, just a regular fella just trying to do his thing, but you've got this political background and knowledge that's going to give you that expertise when you do get elected, and we're going to do everything we can to help you out with that. But it's the people out there, they're frustrated because it's been a long time since they've seen that any of their whether they make a donation or this or that it makes a difference. So I think that they want to be a part of something special, and so is your campaign going to give them what they're looking for?
I think so. And a lot of people that run, they're connected to one insider political group or another. I'm just a regular person who helps, run a business. Yeah, I've worked on campaigns and stuff, but that doesn't, I'm not connected to any political operation and special interest groups or anything. And one other thing that I think makes me different is my age.
Mm-hmm.
Politicians in Washington all the time, they're talking about the debt and the deficit and the impact on future generations. Well, when they're talking about future generations, they're talking about people like me. I mean, people my age. And I think I should have some say. People who are the ones who are going to get the shaft on this deal. We should at least have a little say in the process. So I'm really excited to get over there and try to make a difference and work for the people of the 5th District, and harness the grassroots on this campaign. I think the people are the most important aspect of this whole darn thing.
Well, I was kind of looking at the map a little bit. Boy, it's kind of a weird-shaped district a bit.
Oh, yeah. I'm looking at it right now, too, actually.
So what are the towns and cities that it kind of encompasses? And tell us a little bit about some of the people that you're going to be representing in Congress when you get elected.
Yeah, it is a wild district. It looks pretty gerrymandered, but in all honesty, that when they did redistricting, they made it more Republican. It goes all the way from Milwaukee through Oregon City, Canby, Wilsonville, down to about Albany, and it goes way east as well.
Big chunks of Clackamas County and Marion County.
Big chunks of Clackamas County, Molalla, Silverton, all the way through into Forest, and then it goes all the way west in a huge chunk of the coast, up past Tillamook, down south past Newport. It is a wild, huge district, and
there's a lot of natural resources out there that aren't being utilized. They're not being managed, and we're frustrated in Oregon with our unemployment rate and so much more. And I think that a representative like yourself would allow us to manage our resources effectively and responsibly, and yet use that balance, of course, where we can get some employment, because we've just been lagging behind the nation for so long.
Oh yeah, even in good times, we've been behind in terms of employment. And I was talking to Lars Larson about this yesterday. In terms of forestry. We've got to make it clear in Washington that when we're talking about the forestry and logging and whatever you want to call it, it's not clear-cutting old-growth forests anymore. We're doing this in a responsible way that manages the forest, is friendly to the environment, but also creates jobs. And the federal government needs to open up land here in Oregon to that industry. And if they're not going to do it, they need to transfer some of that ownership of the land back to the state or back to private individuals, because they have too much control of our land, and they're not letting us use it, and they're hurting jobs, and they're killing rural economies in Oregon.
Well, this is a very winnable district. I know you're going to have a lot of ground to cover as you're going out and shaking hands and meeting with everybody, so it's going to be important that people spread the word, because, I live in Forest Grove, and it's not far from the Tillamook National Forest. It goes right into your district, and I go out there and I enjoy the land and the ATVs. I got a pickup truck, and I go out and play in the sand and everything else, and those people don't feel like they're being represented, and we hear different stories from Kurt Schrader, and then he changes his mind, and I don't think we want one of those rubber stamped type people in Congress anymore, because that's not Oregon. He doesn't speak for me and the people that I know out in the district.
Yeah, you brought up a good point about Kurt Schrader saying one thing and doing another. Or the real thing about Kurt Schrader is you don't know where he stands on hardly anything.
He's
and he makes it a point
to do
that.
Yeah,
he tries to pretend like he's a moderate, borderline Republican, but then you look at his voting record, and he's straight party line for the most part, Democrat, with Pelosi and Reid and those folks. And you even go to his campaign website. You can do it right now. There's no issues page. An issues page doesn't even exist. You can't tell where he stands on the issues. You got to take him at his word with this whole let's get along and work together thing. But you don't know where he stands on anything. And you can go to my website, benforcongress.com, and you can find pretty substantive discussions on each major issue that's facing our country right now. And you can agree with me or not, but at least you know where I stand on everything.
Well, and you're approachable too, and that distinct difference is what's important, because we try to get a hold of the Schrader office, and Ben, are you able to hold over after the break?
Absolutely.
Great. Okay, so with us today on the Jayne Carroll Show, we got Ben Pollock, who's just announced a run against Representative Kurt Schrader in the 5th Congressional District. So we've got him on the other side of the break. This is Jayne Carroll Show, KUIK 1360.
AM 1360 KUIK. Back to the Jayne Carroll Show on AM 1360 KUIK. Westside Talk Radio.
Welcome back, Westside. This is Aaron Stevens. I'm in for Jayne Carroll. A little bit of Halloween music. So you got the Halloween edition of the Jayne Carroll Show. And in radio is one of those things, you have the hard breaks and stuff like that. Have to do sometimes some capitalism, as you know. And I didn't mean to cut you off there, Ben. I just wanted to give you a chance to let, again, the people of the 5th Congressional District or anybody else around the state know that there's, on this Halloween edition, there's no tricks, only a treat. It looks like we got ourselves a great person to get behind in Ben Pollock. Tell us a little bit more how we can help your campaign.
Yeah. Well, if you want to help, I would encourage you to go to ben4congress.com and see where I stand on everything. Sign up to join the team, volunteer, get updates. Also, check out our Facebook page at facebook.com/Ben4Congress. And one thing we didn't mention earlier that I want to really emphasize is right there on my website, I make a 2-term pledge. I think this is very important, because we need to have citizen legislators in Washington. No more of these professional politicians who just go from one elected office to another. We need to have citizen legislators who go to Congress, serve their districts, then come back, get a job, and live under the laws that they pass. I think that's really important for getting this country back on the right track and getting Congress functioning again.
Wow, refreshing indeed. Again, listeners, that was Ben Pollock, and thank you so much for joining the show, Ben, and we're getting a chance to visit with you again. So,
great.
Wonderful, and good luck on your campaign.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ben. That was Ben Pollock, candidate for the 5th Congressional District.